What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? So we're getting into another top 5 video. We have the jungle top 5 that dropped on the 31st. We have the mid top 5 that should go live the day after. And then today, you're getting yourself a solo top 5. Now, with the solo lane, this year's been, I'm not gonna say strange. We had some glimpses of change coming, and then they went away. They got taken away. And we're back into a solo meta that is traditional, and you know, it's the tried and true play style that works and is actually very, very easy to play, oddly enough. So we're gonna get into it. We're talking about the top 5, talk about the builds a little bit, talk about what you're looking to do, and really just kind of go from there. So let's get into it. Make sure you like the videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel already so I don't have to cry. Top 5. Number 5 on our list is Achilles. Now, there are a bunch of warriors that can be played and be thrown into this top 5. Achilles has one of the most consistent kits, especially once you get into late game team fights. He is a massive threat and just ends up working so well in this meta. So, with Achilles, your goal, obviously, in the solo lane is to get to the point where you're farmed up enough to rotate into team fights. You can start rotating into mid lane team fights at level 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's what you're looking to do. You're not necessarily just looking to 1v1 the solo laner. You guys should know that by now as solo laners or as anyone in any lane. That's not your overall goal. Your goal is to impact the game, not just impact your lane. But we do want to make sure you control your lane. So you're going into Bluestone. That's going to give you the best optimal clear off the rip. You're going to want to grab yourself a healing chalice. And then ideally you want to grab a multi-pot or 2. This is going to allow your early game, just allow you to control the early game. And I've been talking about this a good amount on stream. Active wise, you're probably, I hate when all the actives are thrown into this. You're probably, if I can find it, going into teleport, because this is just going to make your life easier. Okay. So is it not letting me, am I trolling? I want to pick the relic. I want to pick the teleport. Anyway, don't worry about it. There it is. There it is. There we go. You're probably going teleport. Once you get up to in the higher ranks, where you become more comfortable and you're okay with backing and rotating on your own. I like having beads to just make sure I'm never getting ganked. Solo lane is a really high gank lane right now. Especially with the Bluestone starts being back. Junglers know they can kill that solo laner fairly easy, especially before level 5. So having beads kind of makes it less likely for you to get ganked. But having the teleport allows you to feel more comfortable to back the base and then get right back into your lane and not miss anything. So I just recommend going teleport to start. And then whenever you feel like it, or if you feel like it's necessary, start trying out beads. You're going to go into Salve first item. This is going to make you unkillable. Your clear is not going to be impacted because Bluestone is going to be carrying your clear as well as your base damage. Then you're going to be going into Glad Shield. I talk about this in every video I possibly can. Glad Shield's passive scales off of defense. It does better with more protections, okay? 35% of your protections become extra damage. This is what makes it do more damage. You aren't just building this item with soul eaters and stuff like that. It's pointless. Don't do that. Build defense, get the Glad Shield online. Then next, you're probably wanting magical defense. You're almost guaranteed wanting magical defense. Genji's guard's gonna be very strong. It's gonna give you cooldown. If for some reason you don't feel you need cooldown, which is very unlikely, you could go Oni's. But Genji's is gonna really fill that gap you want. Get you the cooldown you need, put you at 40% cooldown when you have the upgraded blue buff, and you're gonna be good to go. Then you're kind of deciding whether you want to round out the build with mana cores, or sorry, not mana cores. You want to round out the build, get the mana cores, and then get a mantle. I don't know why my brain just stopped working. A mantle of Discord. This is going to up your survivability. It's going to give you more defense. It's going to make you extremely tanky at this point in the game, and really just give you everything you need. If you are at this stage with the Genjis and you're like, I don't need to just stack magic, I'm okay with getting another hybrid item, then that's where you'll grab that mana cores. Mana cores is still going to give you magic protections. It's going to give you a lot of health, and it's going to give you a lot of aggression. So if you do not feel like you're dying to mages or something crazy is happening, you're getting ganked by a mage, if there's a heavy physical defense presence, or you just aren't having an issue with any mage damage, build the mana core spike here. Get that out of the way because that item is nuts now and it's cheap. It'll be online. Notice these 3 items, 2100, 2400, 2200. Your average gold spent is right around that 22 to 2300 mark on these items. That is nuts. And you aren't spending a ton of gold on health potions because you have the healing chalice. And then remember, you're going to want some magical defense in this slot. That magical defense can be Pestilence. It can be the Genjis, like I said, to get you the cooldown online. It's probably going to be Genjis when you're wanting to really impact the game. But if they have healing, it's going to be Pestilence. So that will be the full build you're looking at on pretty much all of these soul laners. Let me be honest with you. This build is just so consistent and unstoppable. There's nothing that counters this build and makes it like you lose the game because you're building tanky. You're unstoppable with this build. So Achilles, number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is CTHULHU. Same exact idea for CTHULHU. Same exact build, same exact strat. Build hyper tanky, be overly aggressive. With CTHULHU, you're actually not leveling up that 2 until later in the game. You're just going to transform every chance, you know, it goes off. And then every time you are transforming, you are looking to pressure and poke as much as possible. Now, one thing to note, a long time ago, they changed CTHULHU. So if your ult builds up a lot more of your rage, right? Like landing that ult is a massive rage boost. So anytime you're going into a team fight and you want to transform, look to hit that ult on as many gods and creeps as possible to get the instant transformation. You also have a really strong engage because that is a knockup and a ton of damage. And then you'll transform and you'll be able to pump out more damage. So that is the overall CTHULHU idea. CTHULHU plays the same way as everyone else. Avoid as much damage as you can while just W keying and pumping out as much damage as you can. Rotate early. You do bully the very, very early game. At level 2, you should have full control of your wave. So make sure you're doing that with that transformation and have fun. Because CTHULHU is pretty nuts. So that's CTHULHU, number 4 on our list. He has kind of seen a comeback, by the way. He wasn't played for a bit, but with his tank, like very heavy defense, solo lane meta coming back, plus Guardians being played, he can control and rotate and have a lot more impact earlier in the game than he could before. And that's why you're seeing him do better. So number 4, CTHULHU. Number 3, SHIVA. SHIVA has been putting in work with the same build. You're still going Bluestone. This is going to control your early clear. The Bluestones, by the way, are upgrading into Bluestone Brooch. Do not go into Corrupted Bluestone, please. Just get the Brooch. Brooch late game and Glad Shield together will do 1,000 damage with a full rotation of abilities. Every time. Glad Shield in the late game, when you're sitting there rotating your abilities on somebody, it will do between 500 and 700 damage, and the Glad Shield will do between 200 and 400 damage. So, you know, if you're on a mage or a hunter, their half health is, you know, 1,000. 2,000 total HP. Your Bluestone and your Glad Shield will half health while the rest of your abilities kill the target. So you are going into that Brooch. You same thing, get yourself at the healing chalice so you aren't wasting out too much on gold grabbing health potions. Get the Salve, get the Glad Shield, get the Mana Core, man. Like this core 3 is insane. Now, we didn't talk about if you are playing against a Guardian or whatever else in this lane. You could swap out the Salve for whatever magical item you need specific to the god. So if it is healing that you're struggling with, if they are a healing god, you can go into the Pestilence, or you could just go ahead and go right into the Bulwark. The Bulwark's gonna give you a mass amount of magical protections. It's gonna give you that huge shield and the turn potential as well as a lot of HP. There's no downside to going Bulwark at all here. It's still a pretty cheap item. It's only 200 more gold than the Salve. So if you are against magical, just throw a Bulwark into there and then later grab the Salve. You won't go into the magical defense at this slot. You'll flip-flop them essentially. But we're gonna just talk about the normal build because you're almost always against some form of physical. We will go Salve, we will then go into our Genjis, and then we will go into our Mantle of Discord. This is just gonna be a pure build. If you're looking at the stats, just base stats wise, you're looking at 261 physical procs with no auras around you, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah, Salve is, you're actually gonna be at 276 because Sovereignty passive is going to be giving you 15 more. As well as being around any support players or anyone else with auras. You're just sitting on such a high amount of defense. You're also sitting on a mass amount of damage because of your base damage and because of the Bluestone Brooch and the Glad Shield. Pretty much unstoppable. Shiva plays as a full W key god. You have mass disruption with the pull and the knockup on the god. You have the CC immunity for the extended period of time as well as the healing and the damage coming out from that. And your dash is a super distractor because the only thing that can CC you is stuns, and people don't want to waste their stuns on a solo laner because then the jungler is open to jumping on them, or the support is in their face and potentially eating that stun. So Shiva just does everything you need to do in that role. The same way Achilles does, the same way CTHULHU does. In your face, mass disruption, mass damage. It's what he's got, it's what he does, so play around it. That's Shiva, number 3 on our list. Number 2 on our list is actually a Guardian, and it is CTHULHU. CTHULHU is just pure in everything that he does, right? He's a heavy frontline god. One of the most heavy frontline gods in the game because he's massive. You can't not have him in your face. He is creating a chaos and just mass disruption, same as Shiva, but just by existing without even hitting those abilities, right? By being in that ult form. The ult form also keeps it very safe to be in lane. It's very hard to gank Cthulhu because he just pops his ult, walks under the tower. He has the knock up, and he's kind of clean to just walk away. You can't CC him. You can't do anything about it. He's easy to hit ability zone because he's big, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter once you're disengaging. He has a very strong presence because of his passive and because of the way his kit works. So if you know Cthulhu's passive, you get the stacks up and then you hit him with the ability. They're feared, they're disrupted, which is insanely annoying because that's not something you ever want to beat. On top of that, you have a root that slows, very annoying. It's massive, covers almost the whole lane. And then you have a 3 that does a weird pushback. So the whole kit is just being annoying. It's not one-shotting. It's not played around at some specific combo. It is just everything is annoying by itself. And then with everything going on, it's almost impossible to avoid all of Cthulhu's abilities. Then in the ult form, you have the team fight presence of the ultimate heal. You have a mass AoE heal on your ultimate, use it. Group up, be near your teammates after you get that first kill, heal them up, get them back to full health, and then the fight's over. You automatically win. Your lane phase is nuts. It's completely and utterly just free all day long to go through the lane phase because of your clear. A lot of what you're seeing is early game damage. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. When you're playing Cthulhu, you can kind of get away with going damage because you have ranged clear and ranged damage. You don't need to be up getting poked 24/7. So you're able to get away with going into a conduit gem for clear. The clear off of this is insane. They buffed conduit gem, if you didn't notice, a while ago, and it now does extra damage to minions. It's an additional 2 true damage to minions that stacks 20 times. So 40 extra burst on the minions in the early game. Nothing competes with that. It's some of the best clear in the game. The closest thing is Bluestone. That's why Bluestone's picked up by all these warriors. And then you can actually go for more damage, especially if you're feeling in control in your lane. You go about that Pythags. It's a very, solo lane, frontliney damage item where it's all just a mass amount of stats that help your entire team out and help you out. And then you can look at building into just full damage of that, or defense, sorry, not damage, not damage, full defense at that point. You've got Manicore Spike is going to be a very strong item for you. If you're feeling like you're taking too much damage at this point, try to notice what type of damage it is. You can just go heavy into physical or heavy into magical defense at that stage if you need it. But ideally, you're kind of just going in to this more damagey role as the Guardian still, because your presence is there no matter what. You have really, really high base damage, and people aren't going to want to target you out when the jungler and everyone else are diving on you. Now, if you do need magic defense, same thing. You're already grabbing a little bit of physical, a little bit of magical. You just have a lot of options. You can look at going the bulwark if it's heavy magical damage that you're trying to avoid. If you're looking to be a little bit more hybrid, Voidstone is an option, but it's kind of a weaker option. You've already gone your damage item at that stage. So you can look at grabbing the bulwark. You can look at grabbing yourself if you need anti-heal, the contagion. You can look at grabbing the Emperor's armor to help you push if your support doesn't already have it. If you are taking just large amounts of crit, you got spectral. This role is kind of open to doing whatever you want to do. Like this position, you can do whatever you want to do. If you're feeling comfortable, you can go to the Jade, keep up that hybrid idea. You are going to be extremely squishy compared to a warrior in this position, this role. But on Cthulhu, your ultimate is giving you such a health boost, it doesn't matter in the slightest. It really doesn't matter. So this would be a full build I'd be looking at. Swapping out the bulwark for more physical if you need it, or swapping positions if you feel you just are being bullied at that stage. But with a build like this, you're not gonna worry about much. You're gonna be doing a lot of damage. You're sitting at 244 physical prots, 227 magical prots. You're going to have the auras of your guardians, your support around you, so you're gonna be upwards near 300 defenses on both, and you'll just be doing more damage than everyone else in the game. Remember that. Just please remember that. You are pumping damage with this God's Kit. So that's number 2. Last but not least, this should be seen a mile away. This is a ranked and a casual list, by the way. You might not see exactly this at an SPL level because you have a lot more control over your game in a casual or ranked game. You alone can carry your game. King Arthur, number 1. And it's not even close. With that build, with the Bluestone and the Sovereignty, you are unkillable. Your mobility and the amount of CC you have built into the kit makes you unkillable. You should never die. It should be the only way you die is if you tried to die. You went super aggressive, you dove a tower, you did something dumb. You're going into that Sov. You're going into that Glad Shield and you're going into that the Mana Core spikes. And at this point, you can 1v1 everybody in the game. Really, at this point, just with these 3 items, you can 1v1 anybody in the game. Your ultimate will be doing 30 to 40% of anybody's health that isn't a full defense character. And then you have a full kit of 6 other abilities to dump on somebody, while also throwing in Mana Core spike at that stage in the game. You get the Mana Core passive. You're 100 to 0ing everybody over and over and over and over again, and there's nothing they can do about it. There is no counter to this aside from crippling and hard CCing the Arthur into the ground. Nobody wants to do that because they have to worry about everyone else while this god is doing mass AoE damage and just dumpstering the team. If you are a solo laner and you want to grind the ranks, play King Arthur every time he is not banned. He wins every lane, ranged or guardian or warrior, it doesn't matter, because he outpokes and outtrades everybody. As soon as you have the Salve online, the sustain you get is unmatched because of the poke that it is, it is behind. King Arthur's getting the poke off and the sustain on himself. It's nuts. Then the Glad Shield comes online, and that's where you're full just clapping everybody. Ult, do a fat ult on cooldown. If you're in lane and you want to control it and you want to poke them out, just ult on cooldown. And that's all you need to do. At that stage, you've won the lane. Then you can start rotating and impacting the rest of the game just as easily. Blink, ult, every squishy, half their health is gone. Even if they beads, they lose 20 to 30% of their HP at that stage in the game, and it's over. You've won the fight already just by pressing one button, and you still have 6 more to press over and over and over again as soon as you land out of that ultimate. King Arthur is unrivaled. He's one of the easiest to play in the game. Learn how to use an ability auto, because he has that dash auto combo. So it's very, very easy to do his version of auto attack canceling. It's not actually auto attack canceling, but it's free damage in his kit. It's not hard. I very rarely play him, and I very rarely play solo, and I bully everybody every time I play him. So check it out. That's the top 5. Hopefully you liked it. Hit the like button if you did. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the video later tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.